This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast with original independent science fiction written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in eBook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the Science Fiction Podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I've got part 3 of Chapter 11 of Vatican Ambassador coming up on this episode. This has been a really long chapter. It probably should have been divided into 3 parts at least. But now it is, so I can bring it to you in reasonable form on the podcast. So we are going to get into part 3 on this episode. BC just hearing from Vatican City as we finished our last installment. And Cardinal Turpa of the Curia informed him he has to come to Vatican City to become a cardinal, as the College of Cardinals is getting depleted by the sickness that is raging. Pope Linus is sick and likely dying. Demag, the chief CEO of the UTZ, has just died. The UIN on Mars have not been heard from. Now, they may have released this plague or whatever it is as a biological weapon. They might have done it at BC's peace conference. Because now, everyone is getting sick. BC's about to check in with Wentworth as we get into part 3 of Chapter 11 of Vatican Ambassador, coming up on Glow in the Dark Radio. I want to thank patrons, those of you who are patrons of Glow in the Dark Radio and help to keep this podcast going. I couldn't do it without you, so thank you. If you want to become a patron, you can do that at patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio, or go to glowinthedarkradio.com or mikeluoma.com and follow the link to Patreon from there. Patrons agree to, help financially support the podcast for $2 a month, or $5 a month, or $10 a month. Patreon collects the funds and pools it and gives it to me, and then I pay my bills, in theory. So, yeah, if you can do that, if you can help out, that's awesome. Again, it's patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And again, if you already do that, thank you, because it makes a huge difference. I found out a couple weeks back that Hoopla is now carrying the entire trilogy. So if your library is part of Hoopla, if they use Hoopla for audiobooks, you can listen to the entire Vatican Assassin Trilogy, 3rd edition, all 30 plus hours, with your library card. Pretty good deal. And I should try to sell some copies too, so if you want to use your cash money, you can do that at a few other places too and get the 30 plus hours of audiobook. That's available at Kobo, Walmart, at Chirp, at Libra FM, at Google Play, and Binge Books, Storytel, Scribed, audiobooks.com, at Apple, at Barnes & Noble, at Spotify, at Audible. Lots of places to get the Vatican Assassin Trilogy 3rd edition audiobook. That's enough book news. We're going to get into the final part of Chapter 11, Part 3 of 3, coming up next on Glow in the Dark Radio.
Hi, I'm JC. My co-host Cindy and I host the Fix It Home Improvement Podcast. We cover projects that every homeowner should know and top-rated products for home and garden. You can check it out on your favorite podcast app. It's called Fix It, F-I-X-I-T, Home Improvement.
Now here's Vatican Ambassador Chapter 11, Part 3 on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio.
I've got to talk to Wentworth and see if I can get a sense of where he's at.
BC's comm alert beeps.
Wentworth?
Campion, Wentworth, he says on the comm by way of introduction.
Speak of the fucking devil.
I hear your Pope is dying, Wentworth offers. Our man DeMag is already dead. Wentworth pauses. Will the NCC support a counterstrike against the UIN? BC is struck by the absurdity. You're asking me? I'm pretty much all for it at this point, but I have no authority to authorize such a thing. So why ask me? Do you think I'm asking for your permission? Maybe I merely wanted to get your opinion. But as far as that goes, who else should I ask? That Cardinal Turpa you must have just been speaking with? Come on, you know more than she does. So tell me, who should I be asking? Who's leading your people right now? You've got a point. Damned if I know. We'll find out from the Cardinals when they meet. You should be a Cardinal, BC, Wentworth says out of nowhere. We need someone in there with some kind of savvy to keep the NCC from becoming impotent and irrelevant.
Wait a minute.
When did you call Cardinal Turpa? BC asks Wentworth. Earlier. But why? She called me. BC shakes his head, stops to think.
It all starts to make a little more sense. And to think I complimented her on her initiative. I liked her sense of humor. I should never let that color my judgment.
Lucky one of yours is still healthy, eh, Wentworth? BC accuses. One of mine? Who, Turpa? Wentworth plays dumb. Right. Cardinal Turpa is but a friend of the Wentworth Foundation. She works closely with my charitable foundation. I see. You provide her with funding. Exactly, Wentworth says. It's all very legal, all on the up and up. Don't get that look on your face, Campion. Didn't your mother ever warn you that your face could freeze like that? No, is that what happened to you? BC cracks back. Why don't you want to be a cardinal? Wentworth asks him. It's not that I don't, BC explains. It's just... I just never thought I'd be... Wentworth cuts him off. Look, we need the NCC to be a strong ally to the UTZ. We need the NCC to provide that social glue that it can, that it does, that sense of belonging, that sense of righteousness. The NCC helps hold our population together. We need that to continue, especially with our current epidemic. Let's make you a cardinal, Wentworth says with a flourish, leaning in towards the screen, smiling. Sure, BC says, as deadpan as he can. But why would they agree to this? Because a lot of the Cardinals have gotten sick, Campion. Wentworth sounds deadly serious. A lot of them. They're dying. You aren't the only one they're asking to join their ranks, you know, Wentworth informs him.
Aw, gee. And for a second there I was feeling all special and shit. But that's not what I meant.
Wentworth, there's one thing that really bothers me about all this. What, being Cardinal? I thought we got... BC interrupts him this time. No, about the biological attack, if it is a UIN attack. Why would they do this? Why would they infect us with something deadly to humans? Aren't they susceptible too? I mean, wouldn't they be? Or could they have an antidote? Is that what they're doing, holding us hostage with our health?
Wouldn't they be more selective in their attacks? And wouldn't they have said, aha, you're sick, you must cooperate with us or die, or some sort of thing already, by now? They used to be quick to take credit for their attacks, BC wonders.
They're savages, Campion,
Wentworth explains.
It seems as if Islam demands that its followers become quite primitive,
Wentworth says, displaying his prejudice to BC.
There is, of course, a great advantage to keeping your population docile, malleable, and superstitious. It makes them much easier to control.
You'd know something about that, BC says. He can't help but make the crack.
Look, I'm a businessman,
Wentworth says.
I look for results. I do what needs to be done to get the results I want, but it's just business. Those people do anything, and I mean anything, for their religion. They use their religion to cultivate and control ignorance and fear. Then they use that to focus their people's hatred, their resentment for their privation, on us, on the UTZ and your church. When you control people like that, you can point them like weapons at whatever other perceived enemies you have, and they respond. And all the while, it keeps them from pointing back at you. You know, if anything, that's what the NCC does for us, for the UTZ, come to think of it. Full circle, eh, Campion?
You impress yourself, don't you, Wentworth?
Ha ha! Cut the shit, Campion. You and I are still healthy. Either they haven't gotten to us, or we're just lucky, or we're resistant. We've survived. I don't plan on dying either. Remember when you asked me if I was afraid of dying?
Not really.
Well, I'm not, Wentworth says. Not really. But I still don't plan on dying anytime soon. We've been in contact with the sick, but
Wentworth points at BC through the screen, back at himself, quickly.
We survive! And we need to stick together!
We need? I don't know that I need... Wentworth cuts him off.
We need to help each other!
You mean you need me? That's classic. I don't think so.
What? You don't think we need to help each other? Don't you want to be Cardinal?
Not really, BC says. You misread me if you think I do. No, I think you need me to be a Cardinal, though. I don't think so.
What? You don't think you'll be a Cardinal?
Yeah, that too. I don't think I'll stick together with you. I don't think I'll be a Cardinal. To be honest, Wentworth, these days, I don't know what to think. But I do think I'll end this conversation. Goodbye. BC clicks off his comm.
The man is an arrogant pig bastard,
BC says out loud to no one.
If Wentworth is admitting he needs my help, he must be getting pretty desperate.
The comm goes off again in 10 minutes.
Campion, it's Wentworth. I need to speak with you.
Come on, Wentworth. I don't want to go around on this...
Hold off on your shit for a second, Campion,
Wentworth says abruptly.
I just got word from my scientists. This epidemic, this sickness everyone has, appears to be from a non-terrestrial virus.
Fuck, it is the UIN.
Wentworth continues.
It's not from here. It's definitely not terrestrial in origin.
You mean it didn't originate on Earth? BC asks. Wentworth nods.
It's not from Earth, which, I think, increases the likelihood it's something they cooked up on Mars.
Why? BC asks. Is Mars so different?
It's not so much Mars itself as it is Mars's cosmic bombardment. Mars has a great variety of meteor strike points. Something like this virus would have to come from an external, non-solar source like that. Some sort of alien virus they picked up off a meteor.
Couldn't someone on the moon do the same?
Now, the moon is fairly clear of untested strike points, aside from any relatively new ones. We know the surface of the moon very well.
Oh, BC says. You don't sound so sure, Wentworth. If it's non-terrestrial, it could be from anything. A stray stellar microbe DeMag came in contact with? A stray micrometeor? Anything. It could be an accident. We've got to know for sure before we do anything.
We?
Wentworth notices.
Does that mean you're with me now?
We'll see. I'm just giving you my opinion at this point, see? BC throws Wentworth's own words back at him.
Right,
Wentworth says. He continues.
But you'd still need a huge coincidence for anything like that to happen.
Granted, any of those things happening would be huge in the coincidence department, BC says. How do you explain it? If it's non-terrestrial, do you really think it could have been created by the UIN?
Good question,
Wentworth admits.
My scientists don't seem to think the UIN created it, but that doesn't rule out the possibility they're using it, or adapting it for their use,
Wentworth tells him.
My scientists are proud men and women, Campion. They aren't willing to admit that UIN scientists might be more advanced than they are,
Wentworth says with a sniff. Wait a sec. You mean if it was created, it's more advanced than what your scientists can cook up? That scares me, BC says.
It raises the hairs on the back of my neck some, I'll admit it,
Wentworth says.
It does imply that they're far ahead of us, in a few areas, not just R&D. To manufacture something like this would require facilities we don't have, that they shouldn't have, unless they've built them themselves without our knowledge. Somehow. Otherwise, all their equipment, all their tech is from here. It's no different than our older equipment. We've advanced since then. Maybe they have too, but we built the equipment they're probably using. Unless they made this thing.
Wentworth looks mad enough to spit.
Wow. What if it's not the UIN? Maybe it's a cosmic accident? It does seem far-fetched.
Campion?
Wentworth barks. Sorry, just thinking. You know, on second thought, it is hard to believe that this was caused by a simple accident. By coincidence, BC admits.
Glad to hear you say that,
Wentworth says.
If I could have reached through the screen and slapped you before, I would have. You're a military man, kind of, Campion. You're at least trained to think strategically, right?
Sure.
Then you know as well as I do. This feels like a strike against us,
Wentworth says.
So I'm almost hoping it is the UIN, and not somebody new.
Wentworth pauses to let BC think about the implications of that.
Holy shit.
Wentworth goes on.
The Pope is dying. According to my reports, half of the Vatican has succumbed to this mystery illness. DeMag and most of his closest circle are dead from this thing now, too. People around the world are getting sick. Who knows how far it'll spread? Who knows who else is infected? You could be, you know, Campion. You could be a carrier. Or you could be immune. Either way, I feel like we've been attacked.
Wentworth, we don't know if any of the UIN delegation got sick, BC says. Do you have any reports on that? I don't think they'd come right out and tell us if they were.
They would if they perceived it as a threat, as a strike against them. If they thought it was an attack, they'd come right after us,
Wentworth tells him. The same way you're saying we should go after them, BC says.
Exactly,
Wentworth nods. So, we may not have heard from them if they are sick, because they're holding conversations among themselves just like this one you and I are having right now, BC observes. True, Wentworth admits. Is there anything else you're not telling me? BC prods.
What kind of question is that?
Wentworth protests. What else is there? BC keeps pushing.
Nothing else. Yet. I'll keep my people working on this. I just wanted to let you know what was in this preliminary report. Think about possible counterstrikes.
Great, BC says. But don't do anything yet, all right? We need to find out exactly what this thing is first. We need to know what caused it. And if it is an attack, who infected us?
Who else could it be?
Wentworth argues.
We'll give it a little more time. UTZ researchers are doing their damnedest. It's our only priority right now.
Guess it kind of has to be.
Keep me informed of any developments on your end, Campion. Anything, and I mean anything you hear. Let me know.
Right. Bye, Wentworth. BC clicks off the comm.
Arrogant fuck. I still hate him. I'll use him, though, if I can. Work with him to cure this thing. Strike back at Mars if we have to. The man's got power. If he can be focused properly.
Sunday morning brings with it a new month. BC is forced to come up with a sermon for Sunday Mass in just a few minutes, as Father Dacombe has become increasingly ill. The Mass and the day go by quickly for BC. He's preoccupied with the thoughts running through his head, the who, why, and how of the sickness. BC paces around his office at day's end. He looks at the two paintings of Jesus on the wall, salvaged from the wreckage of the old Cardinal's office after the UIN attacks. BC found the Black Jesus and the Eastern Orthodox icon in the ruins. There are some singe marks on the frame and the lower edge of the painting of the Black Jesus.
Rising out of the fire. You almost look like an icon. A black icon. Side by side with the old Greek icon guy there, you bear a resemblance. The dark side of the family. Yet probably a more accurate portrait than the pale, thin guy there. Funny, my mind wanders. What is it? There's something here. Something to this sickness. Part of me does want to strike out at the UIN. But part of me still doubts it's them. I know I don't want it to be them. But if it is them, if it's their fault, I want to strike them back and hard. Love your enemies? That's really your tough one, isn't it? The Light was big on that. Also admitted he was no good at it. It's tough to maintain any sense of perspective, I suppose, when you're becoming a messiah figure in your own right. What do you think? Great. I'm talking to paintings. Or thinking at them. I wonder if it really was you, back there on Fortune Station. Fortune Station. I haven't thought of them for a while. I wonder. Whatever happened to the cult? Back on Earth, probably getting sick. Certainly did them no favors. Screwed that up and screwed them over hard. Though what did I owe them anyway? After all they did to me. Well, after what I was going to do to him. It wasn't intentional, it just happened. I should have seen it coming. Maybe I did on some level. And just ignored it. Why should I care? Kim was a real bastard in his own right. I did like his daughter, though. Man. The chime of the comm alert breaks BC's reverie. Wentworth? Already? Yes? Incoming message. Audio only. Go ahead. Campion here. Father Campion? A woman's voice. Pleasant. Unaccented. Yes, BC says. Hello, Father.
You don't know me, but I have some information I believe will be of importance to you. Who are you? I'm a scientist. I work here on the moon. My name is Dr. Capituna, and I believe I know who infected the people who have died and are dying, here and on Earth, right now.
Holy shit. No, lady, I don't need to know that. Is she for real? Or a kook who got through?
Go on. BC encourages her to talk. I can't say any more over the comm. Can we meet? She asks. Sure. Why don't you come to my office? BC asks. She pauses. I can't. Why not?
That's suspicious.
Your security measures. I can't get past them to see you. Not right now. Really? Really?
Let's see.
Then where? BC asks. You couldn't come to my lab for the same reasons. Security measures. So let's meet at a restaurant or someplace like that. Sure, how about,
Where was that place? McGrady's?
McGrady's? BC suggests. Sure. When? She asks. BC checks the time. 7:12. How about 8 o'clock? Fine. Where is it? Atrium, second level. How will I know it's you? You won't. But I know you. Who you are, I mean.
Creepy. I don't like this at all. But if she is for real?
Okay. But you have me at a disadvantage then. Oh. She doesn't say anything for a second. Then there's almost a hint of attitude in her voice. You think you can handle that?
What's this? Sass? Think I know that voice from somewhere. But who? Who is she? What the fuck?
Sure. See you in about 45 minutes, BC says. The comm is dead.
Gone. Huh. Should I tell Wentworth? Nah, nothing to tell yet. Don't need to waste his time. Maybe I'll know something soon. Or I'm chasing some crazy woman's fantasies. Be nice to have some backup. Oh, the price of running alone. I'll just go early and sit with my back to the wall, facing the door. Might as well leave now.
That was Vatican Ambassador, Chapter 11, Part 3, on Glow in the Dark Radio. The mysterious Dr. Capituna wants to meet BC. Do you suppose she really does know who caused this sickness? Wentworth doesn't know. Yet. And the UTZ doesn't think the UIN could have engineered this. So then, who did? Maybe this Dr. Capituna knows, or knows something. BC will try to find out on our next episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. Man, that was a long chapter. 1 hour and 4 minutes in its entirety, Chapter 11. And I've got like another one coming up like that too. It's crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. I was a beginning novelist. This is only my second book, so it is the second edition though. I did tune up a little bit of it. I think we're still in a bit of the tuned up part. But yes, BC will meet the mysterious Dr. Capituna on our next episode. If you'd like to get the eBook of Vatican Ambassador for free, I do have a coupon, which you can use at Smashwords. If you go to smashwords.com, use the coupon RR88U to get yourself a free ebook of Vatican Ambassador. Now, this is limited It's a limited number of redemptions and for a limited time. So people have taken advantage. There are some redemptions left, but they are going. And this is only good till the end of the month, so only through the end of September. By October 1st, it'll be too late. So use the eBook coupon to get Vatican Ambassador for free as an ebook through Smashwords.com. And you can follow the link in the show notes to do that. And if your library has Hoopla for audiobooks, you can actually get the Vatican Assassin trilogy in its entirety as an audiobook with your library card. All 30 plus hours. That's the Vatican Assassin trilogy, 3rd edition, for 30 plus hours. The whole thing in its entirety as an audiobook now through Hoopla through your library with your library card. And one more time, a thank you to patrons of Glow in the Dark Radio. My patrons, if you're a patron, thank you, because you help keep this podcast going. And you can do the same. Find out the details at patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio, or go to Glow in the Dark Radio or MikeLuoma.com and follow the link to Patreon. And that is all for this week. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you again for listening to Glow in the Dark Radio. Glow in the Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2023 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NCND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.